Gavin Newsom, who's trying to tweet on X like he's the president in all caps. I mean, it's really pathetic. He just got delivered a big, big blow. The Supreme Court of the United States of America says, hey, guess what? You know what? Donald Trump can resume those ICE raids. Because you see, as we were just discussing, you got the Commerce Clause, you got the Supremacy Clause, you got the Foreign Affairs and National Sovereignty Clause. You got a lot of clauses there. You know, the federal government doesn't have a ton of power. It really doesn't. But on this, it does. Okay, like it does. Trust me. It has the power over the borders, and it has the power to police who's in the country, who's not in the country. And by the way, if you want to change it, you better go to Congress and change it because Congress wrote the law. Now we just have to enforce it. So ICE's job is to enforce it. The government's job is to enforce. Oh, California, if you have a mind of your own, then guess what? They can bring the National Guard in there. That was decided by Ninth Circuit, right? And now the Supreme Court taking this one up. So I'm telling you, they're going to have to figure this out and figure it out fast. He's got no sense of humor.
You think for a second I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
Just a little. Teeny bit. We also do a lot of winning. Again, look at the headline. Over my left shoulder. Supreme Court lets Trump administration resume sweeping immigration stops in Los Angeles. So that's a big win for poor little Gavin. Gavin, who's just like not knowing which way to turn. It's really interesting. For a while, I actually thought he was getting it. For a while, you know, when he came out against transports and he started going on some conservative podcasts, I was like, okay, Gavin gets it. Ooh, he might actually be a problem in 28. And then he went right back to the well, right? Stupidity, total stupidity. He started imitating Trump on Twitter, and now he's just, you know, digging in his heels on things like crime. And the problem with this one is the more you sit there and say, hey, we don't want your help on crime, the more you sit there and say, hey, we don't have a problem, when everybody knows the statistics, and even if you're massaging those, they know reality, you're not going to get anywhere. You're cementing the utter extinction of the Democrat Party. Like if any of you had a brain, you'd actually think about, let's come up with creative ways maybe to work with Donald Trump on this. Let's actually make our city safer. And then, you know, you can try and take the credit at the end. He actually does want solutions. I disagree with the woman we played earlier on The View who said, oh, it's all politics. They don't want solutions. No, Donald Trump's a businessman. Trust me. He wants solutions. Solutions. All he wants is solutions. It's part of the problem. It's why he's so impatient. It's why he wants everything done yesterday. It's why everything's moving at the, you know, record speed, 60 miles an hour. Here you go. The Supreme Court of the United States in a decision 6-3. 3 guesses how that was. The 3 that didn't like it. The Supreme Court is pausing a lower court ruling that had prohibited the Trump administration from conducting roving immigration arrests across Los Angeles. So, in other words, they're pausing that. It may come up again as an issue. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to remain somewhat unresolved, but I think it's important to note that they're pausing the lower court. In other words, the lower court does not have the right to intervene on this one, and that's a good thing. You know, I still go back to my interpretation of it, whether it's the Commerce Clause, whether it's the Supremacy Clause, whether it's the Foreign Affairs and National Sovereignty Clause. Again, if you are not able to control who is in your country, if you don't have borders like every other country in the whole world has, then how are you really a country? Okay, I realize this is a whole open border movement. Look, Germany tried it, and I'm sorry, but they get a real problem now because a lot of people on welfare, guess what the number one name of the people are on welfare? Unfortunately, I mean, it's a certain demographic because they let all these people in from Syria. They thought they were being generous. I mean, granted, they have a very heavy conscience there in Germany, and everybody is named Mohammed, that the majority of people that are on the list for help have that name. So, you know, you have a certain culture that you have to buy into. And I think you can be very pro-immigration, but immigration that is tracked, right? So you know who's here and immigration that's thought through. So I'm not saying everybody has to have a PhD or that everybody has to be a Christian, for goodness sakes. No, we pride ourselves on our diversity, but you also just have to be thoughtful about, are these people going to be contributing members to society? Will we become a better nation, a better country, a better melting pot? And I use that word melting pot as opposed to the stupid salad bowl, right? The left wants to be a freaking salad bowl where nobody gets along. We are all American together, and let's remember that, and let's cherish that. That is the exquisite beauty, right, of this country, that we're so unique, and no one can take that away from us. Well, they've tried. They've tried, but they are not succeeding. You know who tried? The guy who couldn't seem to figure out what day it was.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
I like that too much. I like it too much. Hey, thank you so much, Chuck Diesel. 100% straight facts. You know it all the time here. And a little opinion too. And I try to be fair. And I'm very empathetic. So when I talk about things like immigration, please understand. I wouldn't be here, right, if it weren't for immigration. My family's fairly recent. None of us would be here if it wasn't for immigration. So I say this with a big heart. I just think that we need a system, right? We just need a system so we know what's going on, and that we have people that are going to help make us better and that want to be American, right? You're American first.